Now, what can we expect from this year? Well, nobody can predict what will come our way in 2026. Or can they? If you want an idea of what's going to happen in this new year, then you could do worse than have a read of Old Moore's Almanac. The Almanac, which is one of the oldest in the world, has an extremely good track record when it comes to predicting what will take place the following year. And to find out more about the Almanac, what they got right in 2025 and what's in store for 2026, I'm joined now by the editor of Old Moore's Almanac, Nicole Buckler. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. The Old Moore's Almanac is quite the institution. It's been around for centuries. For listeners who may not know it too well, tell us more about it and why it still resonates today and throughout the centuries it's been in existence.
So it's been around for 262 years, and actually there are copies of it in the Trinity Long Hall Library next to some old Bibles. That's how old it is. And it was started by a guy who was what they call in those days terms a soothsayer. So he would make predictions. He actually could speak 4 languages, which for the time was amazing. He could speak like Latin, Greek, English and Irish. And he was known as a local Merlin. And he used to live, he actually started out in County Offaly and then moved to Milltown, which is now part of Dublin. And it's been going ever since then. And there's a continuous record of it, which I find really interesting.
And they, as I say, people often say nobody can predict the future, yet Old Moore's has such a strong track record. How does the Almanac approach forecasting what lies ahead? And I suppose, the people you've had, it changes throughout the years. Nobody lives forever. What's that process like of finding the next soothsayer, for want of a better phrase? And I know you can't, because you've told us before, you can't tell us who they are.
Well, we've had the same guy working for us since 2010, and all we're allowed to say about him is that he's in his 50s, he lives in the north side of Dublin, and that he works in investments in the stock market. So he likes to really fly under the radar. But over history, there's been a personality that has been, so originally it was the guy who started it, and then over the years it's been different people. But at the moment, we've had the same guy since 2010, and he's got us some really amazing hits. Like, for example, in 2025, he said things like that there would be a new pope, which there was, and just things along those lines that have come true.
Okay, so we got quite a bit right in 2025. Well, let's look ahead to this year then. Some predictions that Old Moore's Almanac are pointing to for 2026. Ireland will have huge drama around the Eurovision. I thought we already had the drama towards the end of last year with us pulling out. Are you going to tell us there's a late readmittance and we finally win our first one in 30 years?
So we actually go to press at the start of November. So those predictions are already done. And as soon as the week it came out, then Ireland was withdrawing from the Eurovision. So I think that was the drama there. But there's probably going to be more drama. It is the Eurovision. There's probably going to be more drama. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, especially given the last few years. Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, should he be watching his back?
Well, it's interesting. There's assassination energy around him, so someone would probably make an attempt. And it's interesting because in the 2024 Old Moore's Almanac, the prediction was Donald Trump would have multiple assassination attempts, and there was. So, he needs to watch his back, the old Keir Starmer. He needs to be a bit careful, I think.
You heard it here first, Keir. You better boost your security personnel, that is for sure. In terms of immigration here, you're saying the debate is still going to rage and that we will see a new political party form.
Yeah, and actually it's really interesting because, it's very much of a UK thing as well at the moment. And there are, Nigel Farage's party is really, pulling ahead. So the prediction for Ireland is the same sort of thing will happen. There'll be alternative parties that we haven't had before, so that'll be interesting to watch.
The housing market in Dublin will get worse, as if that was even possible, but clearly it is.
I know, this is not good news for people trying to buy a house. It's just going to get worse, and even for people renting. It's the same story, change the record, but yeah, it's not going to get any better according to our psychic.
Germany, for people living in Germany, it sounds like it's going to be an eventful 2026. What is likely to happen?
Yeah, so he actually predicted last year that Germany would swing conservative in its voting preferences. And then there was that whole thing at the end of 2025 about um, people from far right parties were getting assassinated or dying mysteriously or something. I don't know. So it's going to probably be more drama along those lines. It'll be something to do with more conservative voters, I'd say.
Okay, there will be avalanche cluster, which sounds extremely worrying. Can you
Yeah.
tell us more on that, Nicole?
So this is interesting, and it's interesting in light of there's two main predictions for holidaymakers this year. So one is a cruise ship drama. Now, when he says drama, like last year, he said there'd be a space drama, and that those poor astronauts got stuck in space forever. Those poor people. So when he says cruise ship drama, I feel like that's something that's going to go on for like the whole year. But then there's the avalanche cluster, which is also relates to skiing, like skiing holidays, I think. So I think maybe go to a paradise island this year, people. Go somewhere nice and hot and sunny away from either of those things, I think.
One of the other predictions I saw for 2026 from the Old Moore's Almanac was a new replacement for the Big Bang Theory, which I got very excited about because I thought initially it was the TV show, which I'm not a fan of at all. I don't think it's remotely funny. However, I suspect this is to do with the actual Big Bang Theory, which would be, from a scientific perspective, and I guess just in general, would be fascinating. What that theory has been around for so long would be replaced.
But actually, if you kind of, because once I got that prediction, I started Googling that a bit, and it's interesting because the scientific community are chipping away at that a bit. They are chipping away at the Big Bang Theory a bit. So I don't know if I'm a conspiracy theorist as I like kind of Googled that a bit more, but I find that really fascinating. So it'll be a really interesting year if that gets challenged really heavily.
Something else which worried me extremely when I read it is that the preconditions for a mini ice age are being met. Now, the last few days would lead us to think that that might be likely. It's been very icy, but that sounds very worrying, Nicole.
Well, I mean, Ireland's always icy to me because obviously I'm not from Ireland originally. I always feel icy, but interestingly, when I first read that as well, I went, what? But then there was a news report out a couple of weeks ago that said that Antarctica this year has more ice than it ever had in recorded history, something along those lines. And I was like, no. So I don't know. I think we keep an open mind about that one. A mini ice age is different to an ice age, but I don't know. I think we keep our minds open.
Okay, we're going to be talking about the big films coming out in 2026 later on in the show, but could the days of the film industry in Hollywood be numbered? We know AI is already having a huge impact in the music industry with, we've had stories last year with fake bands being set up and streaming services and getting huge numbers of people listening to them. What is likely to happen according to your predictions in terms of the film industry and elsewhere?
Well, actually, it's a really interesting prediction because it says no more Hollywood movie studios. But I do think this could be a good thing in that. Like, if everyone's using AI to make movies or whatever, there could be like a decentralized sort of theory, which is it's like YouTube. Anyone can make a YouTube channel and put it out there. So ideally, young creatives who would love to get a start can do it themselves with AI now. So I think that would be fascinating if Hollywood loses its power, because a lot of people, aren't really really liking Hollywood movies lately. So I find that a really fascinating prediction. So more or less, AI will be making the movies, and we can contribute to that. Oh yeah, interesting.
Okay, AI further taking over. Some positive news, though, for people who worry about how much it costs, their mobile phone costs them. Free phone and Wi-Fi offered with no bills. Where do I sign up, Nicole? When's this going to happen?
Yeah, that's an interesting prediction. What's the catch, though? So will it come with a whole pile of advertising or something? But I feel like that whole prediction is about some satellite will go up. We can get free Wi-Fi free, but we'll be bombarded with ads. So anyway, I mean, I don't mind. Give me ads. I'll take the free Wi-Fi. Thank you. Yep.
Well, I'll be firmly in the queue, very close behind you. It's more kind of dispersing news for Joe Biden. He'll be in the news for non-political reasons. And I guess, last year we saw it as cancer scare and so on. Is it connected to that?
Well, the psychic uses the words, it's the final performance. So to me, I mean, I think he's very I think he's being pretty clear there. So I don't know, for Biden fans, maybe bad news, but for people who don't care, they won't care. Really.
I think of one man who might celebrate. Two that are closely connected when I read them: marriage peril for Mark Zuckerberg and robot romance stories. Given that he comes across as a bit of an android at times, is there any link between these two stories, or are they very much separate?
He does come across as an android. You're dead right. But his marriage peril. Now that's interesting, marriage peril, because they seem really solid and they've been together since before he even became a thing. So yeah, interesting. What's going to happen there? The robot romance stories was really interesting because last year I think the prediction was that there will be a robot in every home, and that Neo model is now available for pre-order. Now, I want to get one of those because it can do all your housework. I mean, imagine how amazing that would be to get all your housework done. But then, who's going to be falling in love with their robots? Like, that sounds a little bit just way left of centre. So I don't know. It's not going to be me. I'm not going to be falling in love with my robot. But, if people want to, if they're an adult, they can fall in love with their robot, I think.
That's the world we live in 2026. Just fascinating stuff. And as you heard last year and all the preceding years, the Old Moore's Almanac is usually pretty on the money. So, Nicole, if people want to find out about more predictions for 2026, where can they get the Old Moore's Almanac?
So it's in every newsagent just about in Ireland, and also online, oldmoresalmanac.com.
Brilliant stuff. Always a pleasure speaking to you, Nicole. Thanks very much. And I can predict that we'll be speaking to you again in 2027. You should sign me up next for the Almanac. Nicole Buckler, the editor of Old Moore's Almanac, thank you very much for joining us